you start it?
Yeah.
Well, why didn't you tell me?
I pointed at you.
Oh, sorry. All right. Hey, what's up? I'm Benjamin, and welcome to the Eccentric Custom Collective Garage. This is my 1987 Haro Master, all dressed up like a 1986. Well, I wanted to share it with you guys, so let's check it out. Alright, I'm going to address the elephant in the room first and foremost, and that is, why is my 87 Master decaled like an 85-86? Well, the reason is quite simple. I wanted a neon green Haro Master. Well, in 87, there was, I think, 3 different color combinations. None of them were neon green. So the decals that were made for the colors were not going to work with neon green. I wasn't about to go buy a custom set or have a custom set made. That wasn't in the budget, and I just didn't want to do it. My favorite years are 85, 86, so I built my 87 as an 86. I want to jump into some of the unique parts of this bike now, starting with the brakes. These are Suntour XC roller cam brakes. They mostly came on mountain bike applications. Some BMX applications that had them were some of the prototype Hutch Trick Stars. I think Woody Itson had some on the front of one of his Trick Stars. But as far as factory bikes that had them, the 86 and 87 Mike Dominguez Strike Zone had these. I have one of those as well. It's probably, might be my favorite freestyle bike of all time. I'm going to do a video on that one a little later on. But back to what I did on these brakes. Well, there are 990 mounts on the 87 Haro Masters. So, in having 990 mounts, I was like, I gotta have roller cam brakes. Roller cam brakes are notorious for being really hard to dial in. So what I did is where the little brass roller cams are, I actually put a spring underneath it. So it is fastened onto that little wedge, and the only thing that breaks it apart is when the wedge is moved, or obviously the tension on the cable creates, you know, I guess you could say friction or whatever. And then when the brake pulls it, it spreads those cams apart. It rolls on the cams, spreading the brake apart, making it work. And so I think it looks super trick. I polished them, and I polished the brass on the roller cam wheels. I really love these brakes. They look super great, and they just really complement the bike. Here's the other part of the braking equation. I have an ACS rotor with a custom green ACS Pro rotor decal with a Repop Group 1 stem, with POTS mod, and obviously the spot for the ACS rotor cable to go through, or the cable to go through the rotor. I love this stem. It doesn't slip, it doesn't slide, it's just great. All right, so my next favorite mod besides the brakes is probably this right here. And you're like, okay, Ben, this is just a regular standard. Well, look at it again. I took a 14mm axle and I drilled it out so it would be a male into a female axle, so I had open area in the stander. Now, when you're a kid in the 80s and you're looking at these bikes, you're like, oh man, I could do all kinds of tricks. I could do, you know, frame standers and infinity rolls and stuff like that. Then you actually try to go put your foot on it. There ain't no room, and that's why everybody ran axle extenders on these things, or pegs, you know, whatever you want to call them. I really wanted to use these standers because I was so stoked on them as a kid. Kind of like I was with the standers on this bike. They're literally useless, but I was enamored with them as a kid. But anyhow, like I said, I took a 14mm hub, or axle, drilled it out, tapped it, and then put a 3/16 Allen head bolt into it. And I think it's cool. I don't know, maybe I'm weird, but I think it's cool. These are the Repop standers with some no-name blue pegs that I found at some bike shop that I thought would match the decals. I think it's kind of cool. All right, here's another custom mod I did on this bike. These are not Haro Master bars. I actually constructed these bars from about 3 different bars, cutting them apart and welding them back together and grinding it down. They're not perfect, but they're tall, and they were in my price range. So we have the quintessential Haro unidirectional chainring, and the polished, I guess you could call it a spider, or power disc, whatever you want to call it. We'll call it power disc. Well, this one was kind of funny because I won it at the Vintage Bike Show up in Vancouver, Washington. Shout out to Mike James and Gary Sansom from BMX Museum for putting that on every year. We skipped it for 2020, coming back for 2021. Anyway, there's a little plug for you. But it was purple, and it had like extreme written all over it. Extreme this, extreme that, extremely rad. Obviously taking advantage of the quote-unquote extreme movement of the mid to late 90s. But I stripped the purple anodizing off of it, sanded it down, and polished it up as good as I could. I think it turned out pretty cool. I always thought it was kind of funny how many times they said extreme in the packaging, trying to get the kids into it. Well, here it is. I hope you enjoyed it. Wearing clothes it probably shouldn't.
Like your mom.
But it's great to hang out and ride and just have fun on. I really, really enjoy this 87 Master. And I hope you did too. Well, that's about it. Just kind of wanted to run around and show you my 87 Master. I love this bike. It's so cool. And I ride it. I actually ride this bike. It's a little beat up. I let my kids ride it. I let my kids learn 80s tricks on it. And speaking of my kids, they helped me make this video for you guys. And I promised them that if they would help me make this video, that I would plug their YouTube channel. So guys, what's the name of your YouTube channel?
P&G Unboxing.
If you didn't catch that, it's P&G Unboxing. They unbox things, they play video games, they do all kinds of crazy stuff. So check them out. Do it for the kids. Do it for the kids. But anyway, I'm Benjamin. This is Eccentric Custom Collective Garage. Like, subscribe, get on the kids' channel, and pay attention because we got some more cool bikes coming. I'm going to get that Strike Zone that I was talking about earlier, and I'm going to show you guys that one as well. Bye-bye.
Doraemon.
One more time.
Doraemon.
Just like your mom?
Yeah.
Do it again.
Doraemon.